Hi guys, it's Sophie. So I thought I'd do a tag today, and the tag I'm going to do is the Family of Books tag, which was created by Acacia Ives. I chat to Acacia all the time. She's really lovely. Her channel's still sort of growing, so if you haven't watched her before, maybe go and give her a shot. She's quite good at doing sort of books that relate to mental health, as well as sort of magical realism stuff. But pop over there if you haven't already. And what this tag is basically trying to describe your family with book recommendations. So I'm going to slightly tweak this tag. She did say that we could, but yeah, so I'm trying to sort of adapt it to my family a little bit. Though all the questions she had originally will be put down below, as well as the new one that I'm going to put in there for my sort of family situation. So hopefully you enjoy. So the first one is Parent Number 1, the book that gives you hugs when you need it. And for me, this is my mother, and no reflection on my mother, but it's a Stephen King. It's Under the Dome by Stephen King. The reason why I chose this one is because it's something that you can kind of lose yourself in and get a lot of comfort from, and a lot of sort of extended like love and stuff. And also my mum is the person who got me into Stephen King, and you guys know how much of a thing Stephen King is in my life. So this kind of like links me to my mum in a way, and just that sort of home feeling is what I get when I'm with my mum or when I'm reading Stephen King. And the next question is Parent 2, the person who gave you morals and rules to live by. So this would be my dad, and I've gone for a little bit of an odd one, but it is Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the reason why I've chosen this one isn't because there are particularly sort of strong morals in there. It's not as though it's like a very preachy kind of book, but it's very fun, and you learn sort of the morals and rules of life through having fun and sort of playing with life, and that's really what my dad's about, so this one sort of reminds me of him. Now I have 2 younger siblings, and the question for a younger sibling is a book so cute it annoys you. Now neither one of my brothers have sort of a particular book tagged to them, but I have Sputnik Sweetheart by Haruki Murakami. Now don't get me wrong, I really like Murakami. I know a lot of people don't like Murakami. There seems to be this anti-Murakami wave that's kind of coming over everyone at the moment. I do really like him, but a lot of his work's very similar, and it's sort of that like little sibling thing where they repeat everything you say, and that kind of is what reminded me of this, that sort of weird echoing things younger siblings do. So whilst I do like him, I think he's best tasted like one at a time, and you shouldn't sort of dive in and have too much contact sometimes with younger siblings. That said, I do live with a younger sibling, so maybe I'm not taking my own advice, but there you go. And then the next one is Water for Elephants by Sarah Gruen. This is in place of all romances ever. One of my brothers has the soppiest, sweetest romance ever that's been going on for like 3 years, and I love the pair of them to absolute bits. But yeah, it's almost so soppy you can't bear it, and that's the feeling I have with all romance novels. Water for Elephants I really didn't enjoy all that much, to be perfectly honest, but there are like little soppy bits that I just can't. Yeah, so there's that one. So the next question is Grandparents, an old favourite that smells kind of weird. My grandparents don't smell, but the one I've chosen is For Adults Only by Beverly Nichols. It's sort of an old sort of naked hardback, and this one's for a couple of reasons really. 90% of the books at my grandparents' house when I was growing up looked just like this. They were sort of tiny little pocket-sized naked hardcovers, apart from they had this whole really posh array of classics, which is one of the reasons why I read books a lot when I was a kid. So it kind of reminds me, it's the kind of book I could see in their house. And also the content of this book. So this book is a collection of short stories in which children ask their parents or adults in their life awkward or annoying questions, and the adults are trying to explain sort of what's going on to the child and trying not to kind of give too much away. And I know that definitely me and my brothers would have asked my grandparents questions like this to try and find out answers when we were very young, or to try and like broach opinions other than my parents. And it's just really funny, and it's really well done. It's that sort of classically funny, really lovely drawings, and it just reminds me of something they would have. And the next one is Uncle, a book that makes you laugh. The last book that made me laugh out loud was A Supposedly Fun Thing That I Will Never Do Again by David Foster Wallace. His description of him trekking around on a cruise ship, trying to understand why on earth people do things like that was very funny. If you want a book that's going to make you giggle, then do pick that one up. Now the other questions were older sibling, aunt and child in your life, so whether that's your child or like a really young brother or sister. I don't have any of those 3 categories in my life to any real extent, but the category I did want to add was sort of like extended family. Like I have aunts in my family, like several aunts who are not sort of like full blood aunts or aren't biologically related to me at all, but that have had a really big impact on my life. And so I wanted to sort of connect with this sort of extended family feeling of those who aren't blood relations but basically may as well be. So the question that I made for that one is the sort of extended family, the person who made you realise life can be a little bit different, because I think that's one of the things extended families so great from, is looking outside of your family bubble, especially as a young child. And the book I chose for this was The First Bad Man by Miranda July, because this book is just sort of a little bit of a blast as to what could be different. It's a very different way of seeing life, but also little familiar elements that pull in that mean that you can properly sort of relate to it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was in very good humour and taste. And I feel as though my sort of extended family have taught me an awful lot about the way that the world works, and as with this one, sort of sometimes stuff that is sort of a sexual nature that you might not ask your parents, that you might feel comfortable asking a member of the extended family, kind of reminds me of this book, because it goes into some weird little areas that probably something you wouldn't want to read with your parents. So I hope that you've enjoyed my take on the Family of Books tag. If you would like to join in, then I would highly recommend you do so. I've had an awful lot of fun. So the people I'm going to tag are Chbosky, The Reader in the Right, Time to Read and Shout Amy. All of those channels are brilliant and I would highly recommend you check them out. Special sort of shout out to Time to Read because she's still growing, and I've had an awful lot of fun watching her videos at the moment. She doesn't edit, which I actually really like, because it means you get to see like all of the little quiet moments and like funny things like that happen when you film, and as someone who films I kind of feel that. So yeah, make sure you check all those channels out as well. Hopefully you're all well, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Bye guys.